Hi, I'm Mitch Gross, Director of Communications at Convergent Design, and this is the Odyssey 7Q Plus monitor recorder, and it is monitoring at the moment a 4K signal from over HDMI from this Sony A7S little camera. But we can take HD, we can take RAW, we can take it over SDI connections. We have lots of different ways we can record signals. And what we record to are two slots for our Odyssey SSDs. Now this one is a 256 gig size, but we also have them in 512 gig as well as our new terabyte size SSD. And we firmly believe in quality professional media for recording your material, that your footage is sacrosanct, and we want to make sure that nothing happens to it, that it is actually all captured properly. So these are SSDs. There's no moving parts in this, and we mount this little handle on it so it gives a nice firm grip to be able to grab onto it, but it also has a little locking tab on the back. So in the Odyssey recorder, you could have it upside down, it could be in a car rig or a helicopter, be shaking around stuff, and that is never going to pull loose. That's always locked in place. It takes the stress off the electrical connection as well, so you don't have to worry about anything happening to that mounted in your Odyssey monitor recorder. Now, one of the measures of drive is how fast it is. These are very high performance SSDs, and that means that they can the read-write speeds are very high, and they're consistently high. Read-write means how fast can you get the material on there, and then how fast can you pull material off. So getting it on, if you have a high-speed drive, it means you can shoot in 4K, but it also means you can shoot in RAW and in high frame rates and combinations thereof. And any combination, anything that we can record on an Odyssey 7Q Plus, we can record on any of the Odyssey SSDs. They're all capable of it. They can all handle whatever speed data we're going to send at it. And they can do so throughout their lifespan, many thousands of uses, but also throughout the capacity of the drive. And this is a surprising thing with some consumer SSDs, is that they'll give a rated speed, but that'll be when the drive's brand new and when it's empty. And when you fill it past, halfway full or so, it's trying to search for empty space on the SSD itself. And in that time it takes to search or do other maintenance things within the drive, it's slowing down. It can slow down so much that you might start skipping frames, and then your material is no good. So our drives will maintain their speed throughout the full capacity of the memory, as well as throughout their lifespan, through many cycles of use, thousands of cycles of use. And that is important not just in recording in, but then also how fast they can output the material, because people don't think about that too much. But if you're downloading your files at the end of the day and you have a drive that can't output it as fast as another drive, well, you could be there for a few extra hours perhaps in trying to get your stuff off the drive. So that's an important factor as well, just to be able to keep things going in production and get your work done. There's other aspects to the quality of these drives as well. These are power protected drives. What that means is there's a little capacitive circuit inside the drive that can detect when power is lost on the recorder itself. So if the battery died in the middle of recording a shot, on another system, you might corrupt that particular shot and you've lost that shot. You actually, in theory, could corrupt your entire SSD and the whole thing's gone. The directory's lost, you've lost all your material, could be hours. That's a tragedy. Well, we don't have that issue at all. The Odyssey SSDs will detect that loss of power, and they'll finish writing the frames that have come into it, and then when it shuts down, it does so in a way that when power comes back to it, it detects that it needs to then close it. It does it automatically. It'll close the directory, close that file, and then rebuild the directory so that you'll be able to get to all your shots, and everything's safe and fine on the Odyssey SSD. So that's power loss protection, a very important aspect of how these functions. Now, another thing that people don't think about with SSDs is how much power does this draw? And people don't, think it's a fairly low-powered device. Well, some SSDs can draw a considerable amount of power, and we're talking about several watts of power the Odyssey SSDs are extremely low power, much more efficient than any other drives we've used. And in our testing, we found that several drives can be 2 to 3 times more power draw than the Odyssey SSDs. And what does that mean? Well, first, of course, is extended battery life for running your monitor recorder. But it can also mean that on certain models, you would, if the battery's at a certain point, you would go to hit record and it seems like everything's fine, but it'll just like suddenly that huge draw of power on the from the SSD trying to start recording would be enough to just shut down the system and the whole thing would just switch off. And well, that's a problem, especially at that embarrassing moment when you went to shoot the shot and you have to turn and say, well, you know, got to change my battery now because everything's shut down. That's not a good thing. So we don't have that problem with the Odyssey SSDs because it's a very low gradual power draw that they pull from it. They're very, very stable devices and they will last for a very long time. They are very reliable. So we have put a 3-year warranty on them. And we believe they'll actually last quite much longer than that. But a full 3-year warranty to know that these are drives that will last and work very well for you in your Odyssey monitor recorders. And we so believe in the quality of and the importance of using professional media that for a limited time, with every Odyssey 7Q Plus, you buy one of these and it will come with 2 256 gig Odyssey SSDs included. So you'll get 2 drives included in the box with an Odyssey 7Q Plus. Now in 4K ProRes, that means about an hour and 20 minutes of record time on these two. In HD ProRes, you'll get about 5 hours of record time. So this might be all that you need depending on the type of work you're doing. But then of course you can also get more 256 gig or 512 gig or terabyte size drives. It's very important when you're doing your production not to concern yourself with little things like, you know, what is my media and do I have it? You just need tools that work for you. So we want to have a complete system that we are supplying to you, and that's what you're going to get that's wholly reliable with an Odyssey 7Q Plus along with Odyssey SSDs.